I'll just ask the questions, John, as they came through.
Yeah.
And the first one was from John Oates, Wild Oates. And his question is, last season the supporters had the opportunity to see previous week's games on video in the club bar on a Wednesday evenings. Will that facility still be available this year?
Tapes of home games will always be made available to Dennis.
Yeah.
Away game tapes, we are reliant now on the opposition to provide us with tapes of away matches.
Right.
We do take a handheld camera to away games, but that really wouldn't be suitable for showing to a group of people and supporters in the club bar.
Was it not that the RFU were going to take some photographs and we were going to get hold of those?
No. The system that happens in FDR is that we, for example, on Saturday, we are obliged to supply a copy of the match video to Oral by the following Wednesday.
Right, okay.
And that's the system.
And the video is your video that you take?
The video, yeah, if it's a home game.
Right, okay.
So basically, with Otley on Saturday, they're obliged to send us a copy of their match video, which they've taken, by Wednesday of this week.
Right, okay.
But what we found last season is, some cases you get tapes straight after the game, and in other cases you wouldn't get tapes at all.
Right.
I mean, it's a bit of a Mickey Mouse rule, really, because what happens in the Premiership is that under those rules you're obliged to supply a tape to the opposition immediately following the game.
Right, okay.
Because as I just said to you, a video arriving on Wednesday is no good to us because all our work's...
Why did we get rid of Paul Hooper then?
Well, that's just a cost issue.
Right, okay.
I mean, at the end of the day...
Money was better spent on a player rather than paying somebody.
Exactly. It's we had to review all those arrangements, and I've got something today that we've shown the players and the players have looked at, but it's certainly not suitable for showing on a big screen. And,
Right, okay then. This one's from Richard Griffiths. I'd like to ask John and Andy, with so many changes in the squad, leaving and joining, do you think that our chances of finally reaching the Premiership will be fulfilled this season?
Well, I don't think there have been many changes in the squad. I think that the slight concern for me has been, I've looked at various reviews of National Division 1 for the forthcoming season, previews I should say, and there's an awful lot of on the list of outs for Worcester. There's a tremendous amount of players, but if you look at those players, the vast majority of them were taken last season on loan to cover injuries.
Yeah.
The players, we actually have released less than 10 players who were here at the start of last season and who saw it through to the end of the season. So we kept 20 players. We started on Saturday with virtually an entire team from last season, except Tommy Hayes and Darren O'Leary. That was it. I mean, 13 out of the starting 15 were there against Wasps on Saturday. So,
and you had others on the sideline that were also from
So I mean, my response to that would be, I believe our chances of winning this league are enhanced really because of the continuity. I don't believe that we've made massive changes to the squad.
Yeah. Because that's all you can say, it's enhanced. You can't answer this question what's going to go. Right. When will Bambi be fit? He is sorely missed as a sprinter and defender, and his position is currently occupied by someone, it seems, less committed.
I think your observations on Darren O'Leary, are your observations. I'm not going to make any comment on that. But on Nambi, he's in a period of rehab at the moment, and we're reviewing that weekly. But I think we will know whether his rehab has been successful in 2 weeks' time. Right. I think in 2 weeks' time we'll make a decision on him in terms of whether he can play or not. I think that's really what we're looking at.
Yeah, and the follow-up from that from the same person is, did anything come of the young trialist John Hilton?
Well, John's still here on trial, and that trial period is coming to an end. But obviously, as soon as we made a decision on John Hilton's future, then I'll relay that decision to yourself. But that process is still ongoing. Okay. Still here on trial.
Yeah. Next group is Gary Truman and Drew Hickey likely to be fit for Saturday's clash with Orrell.
Gary Truman is likely to be fit. Drew is unlikely to be fit. So, that shoulder injury. The AC joints are tricky injuries because, you know, shoulders are a key body part as far as professional rugby players are concerned. And he's got to be confident that he can fall to the ground, putting his full weight on that shoulder, drive with it, push with it, make a tackle with his arm extended and his shoulder joint extended. I think he's probably going to need another week or two.
How do you prepare players mentally so that what is said for them to do remains between their ears in a game? Or is it this that separates the men from the boys?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think when you're coaching or managing a team, what you need to do is create the right atmosphere in terms of the group for mental preparation for a game. And sometimes that can mean being very serious about things, and other times it's knowing when to lighten the mood a little bit. So I think, you know, we need to be sure that we're creating the right atmosphere for the group. But I think that the largest responsibility for mental preparation really lies on the individual player. I think if you're a professional rugby player, if you're clear about your role in a team, and that's the coach's job to make sure that you're clear about your role. But once you're clear about your role, then I think it's your responsibility to make sure you're mentally tuned
and motivated
for a game. And you know, I think the coach has got a responsibility in creating an atmosphere, but I also think the player has a big responsibility as well to make sure that they're up for a game on a Saturday.
This is from another person, Alan Ward. Several times during the Ottler game, all the backs were over on one side of the pitch, wherever the action was. Is this as the coaches intended? Has it left us very vulnerable to breakaways down the other side, which very nearly happened on 2 occasions?
Yeah, I mean, part of our game is to play an overload where all the backs will be on one side of the pitch, and it follows that if you lose the ball in that circumstance, you're very vulnerable. But the fact is that we've played that way now for 2 seasons. We don't lose the ball very much, and we don't take many tries from turnovers. People always hark back to the Rotherham incident when we took the second try from a turnover, but to be honest, that really was through one of our players dropping the ball. You know, what we look at is to try and be positive about our play. We try and overload attackers in certain areas of the pitch so that they outnumber defenders. And if you're doing that, you know, if you do turn over the ball, you're vulnerable. And we did it once on Saturday when Chris Garrod lost the ball in contact. But to be fair to Chris, he sprinted the length of the field and made a very good try-saving tackle in the corner. You know, I just think, you know, we will continue to play that way. We're aware that there are risks, but normally our ball retention is very, very good.
Do you want me to put all that full in there, because that's read by other people? That I just know what
it doesn't matter. I mean, people know.
Read that.
People know how we play. Yeah.
On a similar note, the backs are tending to lie very flat behind the action line, which tends to lead to forward passes or slow response from those furthest outside, as they cannot initially accelerate.
Well, I just think, you know, backs lying flat very often. You got. On Saturday in particular, we weren't getting a lot of quick phase ball. So basically, you know, in order for them to maintain the correct depth and time their run, you know, there needs to be a rhythm to our play. And we didn't really get that rhythm where the ball is taken in, presented, away, you know, very often. I mean, you know, there were 34 penalties, 35 penalties in the game. You know, that's not going to build momentum into a game, and not momentum into our play. So, yeah, you know, I think that's a partial reason. Obviously, if you look at the backs, we're really adjusting, I think, to some extent to Tommy Hayes, who's new to the setup. I think it will take time for those guys really to get to know each other a little better. It's
At the 35 then, you said, John, how many were ours against us?
14.
14 of the 35?
Yeah.
Okay. The front row were constantly being forced up.
Yeah.
What was the reason for this, and how can we correct it?
Well, the referee actually gave 3 penalties against the opposition for that, and he's quite right, because the job of a prop is to push straight, and if he's pushing up, which Justin Ring actually was doing, that's illegal, and the referee was quite right to penalise him, but he could have penalised him on another 2 occasions. I just think technically for us, we have to work. Maybe we were a little bit too high on Saturday.
Gave them the opportunity to
gave them the opportunity to do it. I think that, but by and large, I mean, what you have to say is it's an illegal practice, and it was penalised on Saturday. Sometimes in crucial areas. If I'd have been their coach, I mean, Justin Ring gave away 1 penalty at an absolutely crucial time, right on our line, for doing it. So, I think the referee had semi-control of it, but I think we've got a lesson to learn there, and probably that is to set a little bit lower.
Right, okay. The danger of that, I suppose, is that you're going to go down to ground.
Well, it all depends who you're playing against, because against a tall man like Justin, he's about 6'4", 6'5", so he's very tall for a prop, which is why he ends up coming up most of the time. Right. He's done that right throughout his career. But the way to combat that, if you're playing against a tall man, is to get 6 inches lower if you can.
Right. Yeah.
If you're playing against a shorter man, it's not so important. But yeah.
Which is what they'll try and do with Daly, I take it, at some stage.
Well,
but he's not a prop, but at least
no, they may do. But I think again, you look at the scrums on Saturday. We had 7. I think we only had 2 scrums where we had a full complement of forwards on the pitch, and some of them we didn't do too badly at. I don't think, considering we were a man down, and I think they will cause a lot of teams problems in that area. They will cause a lot of teams problems.
Powerful side.
You have to say they are far more powerful than they were last year.
There was very little penetration from the midfield against Ockley until Ben Hinshelwood came on. Ben Hinshelwood came once again. What are the causes for this, and how can we correct it?
Oh, I don't think we really gave our midfield a chance to penetrate against Ockley. I don't think really we had a very effective platform on which to play in the first half. You look at it, we didn't. The midfield penetration usually comes from setting targets, and it usually comes from numbers 10 or 12. And in our case, I don't think we gave Duncan Murray enough opportunities with the ball to do his job, because of the options we called. And I wouldn't attach any blame to them at all. I just think we were
the way the game
we were involved in a dogfight up front and really didn't move the ball to the right areas.
David Officer limped off the field on Saturday. With Hinshelwood out and the internationals, Truman was not available. That leaves us with 1 centre to select against Orrell.
Well, no, because we've got Duncan Murray, Gary Truman and Ben Hinshelwood. So,
can I mention that Ben Hinshelwood's available or not?
No, I wouldn't do that.
But it looks like Truman and
Truman and Murray will be fit. Yeah, definitely.
Injury to Officer?
Officer, we're reviewing that, but we think it may be a slight hamstring tear.
Because you saw him pull up earlier on, didn't you? He was trying to pull it off.
But I'm not sure how long he's going to be out for. I think it would make him doubtful for the weekend.
Right. Okay. Okay. Lead on to that. We have already had several players tearing hamstrings in training. This begs the question: are they warming up properly, or does the training include enough stretching and loosening off?
I think there's 2 players who've missed game time with hamstrings, and that's Ben Daly and now David Officer, probably.
What about Dean Thomas?
Dean missed last weekend, but Dean's was a rather strange injury because he actually, in the pitch 2 that we've got, he actually went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, which caused.
Right. Okay. So
but that's very minor, and he's fit today, and he'll be fine. But I don't know. I don't think it's anything to do with warm up or anything. I think hamstring tears are a fact of professional sport, really. Yeah, it's I think we are doing a fair bit of power work, but some players have an inherent weakness there.
Right.
They've had problems before,
right,
and they tend to resurface every now and then.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's down to anything that we're doing or not doing. I think they're a fact of life, and thankfully, I mean, the Ben Daly one really ruled him out for a couple of weeks. Dean Thomas 1 week, and it remains to be seen what's happened with David Officer. But David was done in the game.
Right.
It just goes to show you can have a full warm up.
You
can play rugby for 25 minutes.
And you must be warmed up by then.
But you can still tear a hamstring.
Right. We defended against the rolling wall at or on our line, but we couldn't stop it moving 20 to 30 yards when in field.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with the technique?
I think there was a fair bit wrong with our line-out defence on the weekend. I think it was a poor area for us, and I think it's something we need to work on. So, I mean, the answer to your question is, technically, I think it was a poor area. It wasn't an issue for us. It hasn't been an issue for us in pre-season until now. But on Saturday, I think
Get exposed a few.
We were exposed, and thankfully we did manage to defend the ones that matters. But we did take. We got driven far too easily for my liking, and so it's something we'll be working on.
Right. Cool. This is Steph. There seemed little or no organisation on the field on Saturday. It would seem the players are almost automatons, I think that, who cannot react or think for themselves.
Yeah, I just think that's very harsh, because what you're looking at is we started the game badly, but we were playing the game with 13 men at one stage, and then all the second half, the remainder of the game with 14. So you're going to have to do things off the cuff, and I think ultimately the players have played a game and won a game playing up a hill against 15 guys, quite a powerful side, and they've had enough organisation and nous to do that and score a try a couple of minutes from time. So I don't think a group of automatons could have done that, really.
And you'll be pleased to know, John, that that's the last one.
Right, very good. Very good.
Thanks for that, John.
Okay.